So today is one of our first cooler weather days, and for lunch I decided that we would have some goulash. And it's not something that I make a whole lot. It's something I actually just recently learned how to make. I've made it in the past, and I didn't care for the very strong tomato acidity flavor of it, or acidic flavor of it. So we're doing something a little bit different. I played with the recipe and you know, made little changes to make it appeal to our family, and one of my secret ingredients is mozzarella cheese. If I top it with mozzarella cheese once I've served it into their bowls, they love it. I've done it stirring the mozzarella cheese into the whole batch, and it's just a mess, and it just sticks to the spoon. So here's what we're doing. I've got some ground beef browning, and I'm just going to add some onions, and I'm just using my leftover purple onions from making my Texas caviar the other day. You could use any onion you prefer. You're supposed to have about 1 cup of onion. So we're just going to mix that in. And in this pot here, we've got our water boiling for our pasta. I like to use macaroni noodles. Some people like to use spiral noodles. Use whichever you prefer. I've tried the spiral noodles and I don't care for the texture. I think you just tend to use whatever it is that you're raised using. So here's 2 cups. And I'm just using the store brand elbow macaroni. Okay, so there's our 2.5 cups of that, and we're just going to let that boil and cook till it's our desired doneness, and then we'll drain it. And you just want to make sure that it's not going to stick to the bottom of the pot. And some of the other ingredients. You can put in green peppers if you like. We're also going to chop some celery, and we're going to put that right in with the meat. It is supposed to be about 1.5 cups of chopped celery. I'm going to put this right into my little food chopper. If you have a bigger processor, you can pretty much throw all your vegetables in together. Forgot our blade. And you want to throw this in with the meat so that it cooks and browns down with the meat instead of just boiling it and turning soft. Now, the thing that I found with a lot of other people's goulash that I didn't like was too strong of a taste of green pepper. I don't mind the green pepper, but I don't want a lot. And because of my family's pickiness about vegetables, I really, really limit it if I put any in at all. And I'll tell you, without the mozzarella cheese added, the kids almost won't even touch it. But I'm getting a little tired of the SpaghettiOs and all that. So I'm just going to keep browning this meat and stir it all together. The other ingredients you're going to need, I'm also adding a can of kidney beans this time. You can use any kind of beans in it that you really prefer. I like to stick to anything that I would normally use in like a chili. I have these white kidney beans. They taste really good in it too. I think they're called cannelli beans, something like that. We're just using the light red kidney beans today. And we're using a can of condensed tomato soup, and that's a 10-ounce can. You can use 2 14-ounce cans of tomatoes. I'm using a 1 28-ounce can of tomato. And we're also going to use 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of basil. I'm going to go ahead and add this green pepper for today. It is well was left over from my Texas caviar, so I don't want it to go to waste. If you haven't heard of it, there's a cookbook called it escapes me right now, but it's by Jessica Seinfeld, and it's about sneaking vegetables into your family's meal. There is a chocolate chip cookie recipe in that book that uses chickpeas, and you'd never know that you'd be eating vegetables. My neighbor makes them for my husband all the time, and he just loves them. So that's it for my vegetables. And with most meats, ground beefs or ground turkey or ground chicken, you're going to want to have to drain the fat off. Again, this is our homegrown raised ground beef, and it has virtually no fat in it at all, so I don't bother with draining it. Give this a stir. I've got my draining pot all ready at the sink. You just want to stir this so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. Your pot handles will be hot, so you'll need 2 pot holders for taking it off of the burner. I'm just going to measure out our other ingredients. So that I can have those ready. Again, it's 1 teaspoon of basil. A 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Don't you love how in all my videos the kids are in the background going yeehaw and playing with trains and having a great time? So we're going to mix this in with the pasta and the meat when it's all cooked together. These noodles are looking about ready. Just give it another minute or 2 more. I'm doing this without my vents running to help with the sound quality of the video, but normally I would suggest either having your ceiling fan running or your microwave vent above your stove. You have the fan running, but it's just kind of blowing the steam around. Things are looking done here. So we will drain the pasta and then return it back to the pot. It's going over to the sink. I have also in advance rinsed and drained my can of kidney beans. Any beans that you use, I suggest rinsing them. Go back in the pot. And as you can see, I just went ahead and rinsed my macaroni right over the beans because they're going to be mixed together anyway. In cooking shows and things like that, you always see them dump this stuff in without actually getting the full measurement out. It drives me nuts. My thought, if the recipe's calling for a 10-ounce can, it wants 10 ounces, not portions of it. I am using sliced stewed tomatoes. The recipe that I was given actually calls for whole tomatoes. Use whatever you like. We buy quite frequently chopped stewed tomatoes or diced tomatoes. Put in anything that you like. Mix that right in, and now add our meat. I've got the temperature right now over medium heat. Basically, as you can see, everything has already been pre-cooked, and you're just going to be warming the tomatoes so that all the flavors kind of stew together. So we're just going to stir this up and let it sit for a little while. The measurement for the meat is a pound of ground beef. I'm using actually a little bit more than that because I'm trying to sneak in more meat for the kids so they can have more meat and protein versus noodle. And you can freeze this. You can can it. It does make quite a bit. As you can see, my pot is really full. It's really good for a potluck or, you know, for just a big family gathering. It's basically 4 of us eating, and this is going to take up quite a bit. But it's one of Juliet's favorites, so we're going to be freezing it so that when she comes home from school, she can have some also. So there it is, and then we'll just put some mozzarella cheese on top of that when we serve it. So we're going to have lunch now. Bye-bye.